Not every film can be Citizen Kane, but even critics have claimed that it was shit in its day. Some films are shit and shit they will stay, but some get better over time because of Nicolas Cage. So which film stays shit forever? And which one got a little bit better? Second chance movies. No poor bloods were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Welcome to Second Chance Movies, the podcast where we rewatch movies and decide if they deserve a second chance.
I'm Joe Harper, your host who loves rewatching movies and was raised in the 90s.
And I'm Jessica Kwazz, your host who's a one and done kind of movie viewer who is really freaked out by tsunamis. And
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like very indirectly related to our movie today.
But they be scary. They be terrifying. I'm glad I live inland. Sorry.
When I hear tsunamis, I just think we're going to talk about the impossible. But that's not what we're talking about today.
No, we are giving a second chance to the very infamous Waterworld.
Waterworld. All right, guys. The reason we chose this movie today is because it is just infamous for being one of the biggest flops of the 90s of all time of movie. It had the biggest budget ever pre-Titanic until Titanic came along and sunk that shit.
Oh.
Please, guys, please. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about that. And is it as terrible as everyone made it out to be? Does this 90s movie still hold up today? Let's find out.
Let's find out.
All right, guys. Again, we're going to be talking about this movie. So spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Man, my first time I said that, it just all one.
Spoiler alert.
I have a thing with my mouth where I can't say words well.
I have that too.
Yeah.
Good thing we're podcasters.
Yeah, good thing. Good thing we started a podcast. We like talking about movies. And this movie, for those of you who do not remember, I'm going to give you a little Imdb synopsis. In a future where the polar ice caps have melted and Earth is almost entirely submerged, a mutated mariner fights starvation and outlaw smokers and reluctantly helps a woman and a young girl try to find dry land. I think that's a very good description of what this movie is.
I mean, that is what happens. That's it. That is it. It's very wordy. It's a very wordy description.
I mean, I could sum it up even better.
Go for it.
Way quicker. Mad Max in the ocean.
That's what it is. That's how I describe it too. Mad Max in water.
That's what from what I've read, that's what the visionaries behind Waterworld wanted all along. Mad Max said, well, hey, we could do that, but in the water.
Which is really funny because when I was watching this, that's what I kept thinking, like, God, this is just Mad Max in the water. And then after watching it, found out, oh, that's literally what they were going for. So good job on that. You succeeded that way.
Let's talk about our first time.
Okay.
Now, I think I'm under the impression this was your first time watching this movie?
Correct. This was my first time.
Essentially almost 30 years without watching Waterworld.
That is accurate.
Impressive.
I obviously knew about it because it's so infamous for so many different reasons. Story-wise, the only thing I knew about it was the world is covered in water and that Kevin...
the title kind of sums that up, doesn't it?
I figured that one out real quick. And that Kevin Costner pees in a jar and then has a filtration system that makes it into drinkable water. While watching that, I found out that's the first scene. It's right there. So I didn't know anything else.
I love that that's what a lot of people took away from this movie when describing to others. He pees and drinks his own pee. Yeah, but there's like a filtration system, and that only happens once and right at the beginning.
Yeah, and then it never happens again. It's really short. It's just like this weird introduction.
It rips off that Band-Aid of like, what do they drink here? And it makes sense.
Yeah, they get that like science covered really quick. And yeah, that's all I knew about the movie going into it was that
Ooh.
moment. And then turns out there's a full movie past that I had no idea about.
I definitely saw this movie as probably a kid. I feel like I never watched it like fully on VHS or DVD till way later in life. I had always watched it like on TV with like commercial breaks, and it just felt way longer than it needed to be
Oh my
because
God, I'm
they
sure.
got to put a commercial break every 30 minutes or so. And the movie's already pretty long, definitely over 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. So with commercials, that's a commitment.
2 hours, 15 minutes. Yeah, it's a long movie. It feels like a long movie, but you know what? It's also action packed. And as a kid, I thought it was wild. And rightfully so. It's so intense with like stunt performers that they have a show at Universal Studios. So that's still here to this day. I think more people have seen the Waterworld stunt show at Universal than have actually watched the movie Waterworld. And so let's hear what other people's opinions were back in the 90s. I know people talked bad about this movie. Maybe we should hear what people liked about this movie.
Yeah, let's give it a nice glimmer of positivity.
So on to Jessica's favorite part, review time.
Review time, baby. This one is quite the review. Kenneth Turan from Los Angeles Times wrote, a moderately successful guys movie with both weak and strong elements, where lots of things are brilliantly blown up and few things make any kind of sense.
He had me with the back half. It being a guys movie, I feel like that's just the 90s. They just had guys everywhere.
Yeah, that's a 90s vibe to say like this is a chick flick guys like man movie. I do not think you need to exclusively be a man to find enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
But you know, I have a small woman brain, so what do I know?
As a man brain, I did enjoy this movie.
Okay. Well, then maybe he's not wrong.
I do think it is weird that there's only like 2 female characters and one of them is a child.
Yeah.
I feel like if this movie got remade today, which I think it should, but we would have a lot more female characters, not just the one.
Right. And the 2 that we have are sort of like our damsels in distress, if you will, not really fleshed out, you know, but that's a whole other thing. But in terms of like audience perspective, I don't know. I don't think gender plays a role in enjoying a movie or not.
David Anson of Newsweek. Waterworld is a pretty damn good summer movie. There, I've said it. It's a breezy, clever entertainment with stirring effects.
I love there, I've said it. Like, you know what? I don't have any guilt about it. I liked it.
It's off of my shoulders. The weight off my shoulders is, finally. Now David can sleep with ease now.
Good for him. Live your truth, David. James Bertinelli from Real Views wrote, in the tradition of the old Westerns and Mel Gibson's road warrior flicks, the film provides good escapist fun.
It sure does.
It does. And I like that this review is like, hey, yeah, no, they just mushed these 2 together. We're gonna act like they didn't, but it's fun. It's fun.
One of the strongest like things this movie's got is world building.
Absolutely.
It's just creative.
It's really unique. It's really interesting. And yeah, it's fun.
Ed Travis of Synopsis. Waterworld may not be a masterpiece, but it is certainly a shining example of large-scale entertainment as only Hollywood can deliver.
Wow.
Boy, is it large scale.
It's very large scale. Like ridiculously dangerous.
Ocean
large
size.
Scale. Yeah. Well, that's all the positive reviews I have.
Wow. So I think it's time to shit on this movie finally.
Let's get into it.
Let's jump on the bandwagon or the band boat and shit on this. Negative review number 1 by Tim Brayton of Antagony and Ecstasy. It's borderline halfway decent for the first 25. It's going to be hard to say with a straight face. It's borderline halfway decent for the first 25 minutes or so, it's even actually good in its derivative way.
So much snark.
I'm sorry, Timothy, that it wasn't up to your standards.
It was almost halfway decent, I guess. Like,
what an asshole.
Damn, that is cold.
Barbara Schulgasser of San Francisco Examiner. Waterworld is ugly, loud, stupefyingly absurd.
Stupefyingly absurd. That's a good phrase. That's stupefyingly is not a word used enough. All right. Cinema's favorite sassy bitch,
All right.
Roger Ebert.
Oh,
He came in
boy.
with a hot take.
I'm sure he hated this movie.
Well, he said, it's one of those marginal pictures you're not unhappy to have seen, but can't quite recommend.
Well, that's rude.
It's a rude way of saying I kind of liked it, but you probably won't.
What kind of an opinion is that?
Right? And the way it's said, I love marginal pictures.
Well, I guess I could say, because like my wife hates horror movies, so like I'd like this, but like she'll hate it.
Right.
And not that this is a horror movie is the example for her liking or not liking movies. So I mean, that's what we do all the time is tell people whether or not to recommend it to
right.
people. You know what? And that's what he does all the time too, which is weird that he couldn't recommend this.
Right, because it's his job to say whether or not it's worth your time. Like,
was
literally.
he just on the band boat where he was like, I gotta shit on this movie too because everyone's shitting on it. Even though I like it.
I think that could be the vibe, is like, I don't want to say I like it because I'm an acclaimed critic and people might think less of me if I like Waterworld.
I feel like maybe we might be getting to something here, because I think one of the big things that surrounds this movie is the publicity before the movie was even released. How like tough it was filming it for all the cast and crew, like all the conditions of them driving out on boats into the middle of the ocean, because you also have to like, it's hell of expensive to film out there because you also have to like provide bathrooms out there, food for everyone, water for everyone, like so many things you have to transport out there and have set up, as well as the sets that they have, the sets that fell apart. There was a set that fell apart and they had to rebuild it all. It's so nuts, this whole thing. So all these things happen and all these complaints happen, delays, which go to the mainland, and everyone's like, oh man, this movie is just fucking exhausting for everyone working on it. It's probably going to be terrible. And so I think that reputation got out before the movie released and was what we know as why it's a flop. But I think financially it did well and earned money back.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like the reputation of Waterworld precedes itself far beyond, I think, maybe any other movie like this. Like even some of like the notoriously bad ones, like it's like the uniqueness of this kind of shoot and how intense and horrible it was adds to like the mythos of how bad the movie is. It's like almost like, wow, you put in all this effort and this was your final product and it was just like, okay, you know, and then that makes it feel even worse. I don't know. It's so interesting just like how this movie has stood the test of time in the way we talk about it. It's I don't know. It's a very special kind of anomaly.
Well, let's see how it stood the test of our times.
Oh.
Let's talk about our second time, or I guess it's your first time. What do we do? When you watched it most recently, how did you feel?
So I was really interested in watching it because, like I said, I've heard so much about it. It's, you know, huge, well-known, infamous cinema moment. I gotta say, I was expecting something a lot worse. Like truly, I was expecting like The Room in the ocean, like, you know,
mics in there.
Yeah, like quality really bad.
A light falls and nobody cares to edit it out. Fuck
Right.
it. We're already halfway through this bullshit. Who
Right.
cares?
Like a Game of Thrones Starbucks cup kind
Yeah.
of thing.
We're in the last season. Who fucking cares?
Who cares? This writing's awful. Just get it done. But I think, like I said, I was expecting something so much worse because the reputation had preceded itself to be something so much worse. So watching it, I was like, you know, actually, this is really visually stunning and like really cool sequences and practical effects. Like I'm into that part of it. I love Mad Max movies. I find them to be really entertaining. So not to sound like a stuffy critic, but yeah, there were at times where I was like, this is cool, but also like, this is Mad Max. I'm not mad about it, but it's Mad Max. So overall, like I had my personal like issues that I didn't like about it, but I didn't hate it. Like I didn't think it was as bad as everyone has made it out to be.
They set the bar really low for you.
Truly very low.
This fucking garbage movie is so unwatchable. My eyes are bleeding.
And I also like,
hey guys, this is fun.
It's fine. I love watching bad movies too. I love laughing at bad movies. So I thought it was going to be like that experience where I just rip on it. And I was like, okay, it's like actually kind of impressive what they did here.
I think it's a very fun 90s action movie. If not, I think it's one of the most fun like action movies of the 90s. Like if we're making a top 20, it's gonna hit it, I think.
I don't disagree because also it's not just the action, it's the fact that it's literally all on water. Like it's insane.
Water, jet skis are flying all over the place. And this is a time before like everyone was knocking out of the park with computer special effects. There are stunt performers riding these jet skis, jumping through shit, falling, swimming. It's wild.
Truly, it's a lot. It takes and I think you have to appreciate the movie just for that alone, just for the effort that was put in to make these visuals happen. Like you were talking about, like taking a full crew out into the ocean and doing these things and making them look good. It's insane. And also, like on that note, I also really liked the little pockets of the world that we get. So like the island that's just kind of built out of shit, like that people are habitating on, or the smokers have this huge oil tank that they've found refuge on, and it just is visually very interesting. And they really do make good use out of the spaces that they've created in a world that literally has nothing but water, essentially. Like it's cool. I also like seeing how like people lived in terms of the survivalism. So that was really interesting.
Just like the writers creating like, hey, how would people exist in this world?
Right. How would that like mentally fuck with you physically? Like what
money,
would it do?
Food, drinks, like bartering system. You know, how do people get around? The world building in this movie is insane. Because like right at the beginning, and I feel like each scene, I do like that each scene. I think we get like a new bit of information each scene. Like there's like right off the bat, we get peeing in a bottle. Then we move on to like he runs into another person, two boats like meeting the ocean. There's a rule in Waterworld. They have to barter something. And I think that's like a nice like community thing that everyone signed up for somehow. I don't know who's
patrolling the waters.
I almost want like a West Wing version of this, of like the politics of like who came up with this system, like who's like the king that sits on a throne and is like, here you voted for me and now I made the rules. Like I want to know that story, and how many like other island kind of like ship things do we have floating around, and do they ever come in contact with each other? Is there like a postman that like jet skis from one to the other, like, hey, how's everyone in this village? Bye. You know, like
I will say, like, on that note, I would have liked a little bit more. Granted, like they did a lot, I do wish we got just a little bit more of that, a little bit more of different villages or boats or like however, because we only get Atoll, that island city boat
Atoll,
thing.
the smokers, we get the smokers live on the Exxon Valdez, which is fucking awesome. A joke that flew over little Joe's head, but as an adult knowing the big oil spill, that's a super awesome, hilarious joke. It's like I feel like it's the only like political joke that's in there.
Yeah, it is a smart one and it's subtle. I like it. And then so we get those two, and then we get like Kevin Costner's ship and random boats here and there. I guess I just would have liked to see like how are other people living? Like what's expand the universe a little bit. Granted, they did a lot already, so I'm not mad we didn't get to see more.
Because it is like following it's following the Mariner. I feel like if there was a sequel or this movie was done differently, seeing other people and other villages, almost like Walking Dead, seeing all the different communities meeting up together would be wild.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
But the whole world's flooded, so
it's not easy to get.
Actually, most people drown, so
yeah, that's true. There's probably not a lot of people.
Man, it is a world. I just have so many more questions than it answers, and then it will never be able to answer.
One thing that I do have sort of an issue with is that, yes, I understand we're in a post-apocalyptic world. We're not going to have a lot of fashion choices. I understand that.
We don't,
There's very few options. But I also visually have a hard time understanding who everyone kind of is in relation to their color palettes and their costumes. So like for me, like the just regular citizens of Atoll don't look all that different from the smokers or villains. And so I would have liked more of a differentiation in terms of color, even coloring or whatever.
Like the smokers should have had, because I think they have more of like a biker feel to them.
Yes.
But again, it's not much of a difference because we are just working with the trash that is out there.
Yeah, and I get that, but I think that limitation could add some creativity. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like they need to be in uniform, they need to look this way. Just like a different color scheme, even.
We love the color green.
Yeah, something to make me understand, like, oh, these are the bad guys coming up, and not just some assholes.
That's the good guys because they're dressed in dolphin parts.
There you go. Because sometimes Kevin Costner's character does come across just like an average, boat dweller who's a dick, but he's not a smoker. But he kind of looks like one. You know what I mean? So
he's very much a loner. Like, leave me the fuck alone. I hate all of you. Which I feel like would be us in this world.
Yeah.
Leave us alone. We're on our boat. Don't bother us.
I'm just trying to live my life. Please.
Yeah, I'm trying to live this shitty life I have by fishing constantly and not getting eaten by giant sea monsters.
Also, I never say this about a movie ever.
What?
I think this movie actually could use a little bit more exposition.
Interesting.
Yeah, because obviously the title's Waterworld. I understand that very easily. But in terms of like
how it got there?
How it got there, we briefly have a voiceover that was like, the ice caps melted. Oh no.
I don't remember a voiceover at the beginning of this. I think it's just text.
Okay, you're right. I think it is just text and it shows like the ice caps melted. Oh no. I understand.
I will say something super awesome is Universal, like the globe, the logo at the begining starts melting and all the water fills up the earth. Oh my god. Very good use of your logo.
Yeah, that was cool. That was dope. So like I understand how like they map it out how we went from like normal Earth to Waterworld. Sure, get that, understand. But I want more exposition, I guess, on like the societal structure, what
Yeah.
exactly is a smoker's deal?
I mean, I think the reason they don't, because like they keep it in a mystery, because maybe they thought they were gonna have more sequels to this, because like a lot of it is them not realizing what things are, and then we as the audience know, like, oh, those are ski boots, or oh, hey, that's that. You know, we know what it is, and we know what should be.
And I think at times like that does make sense and discovering stuff with our characters, but it's also kind of hard for me to get behind some of the story without understanding like what's the deal here. So like
Well,
I
think the biggest thing is in the middle of the movie when he takes Janine Triplehorn down below and shows her like there was a world already here, and like shows her all these skyscrapers of like a world that's like lost and underwater that she had no idea of. There's no history books, and so like we as you know actual people know, oh fuck, that is because the world flooded, and she has no idea about this. Like they use sand as currency, but like he can easily get it because he is like a fish man.
he's a fish man.
He can go and get as much as he wants at any time. It's crazy.
That is honestly probably my favorite part. Just that visual, and like I just think that's so interesting. And I guess too, like I get that they were going for a mysterious sort of anti-hero with Kevin Costner's Mariner, but I also like I didn't know anything about him to a point where it's like I don't care about this man at all.
I think it's part of the mystery of him.
He's so
mysterious. And then some people are like, "Oh, he's mysterious. I like that."
See, for me, I was like, "But like, what's your deal, bro? Like, I don't get it." And also, like, I have a hard time with all of the characters. If I'm gonna be honest, I think
that's fine.
There
was one review that definitely said that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think there's like. For Costner, I get wanting to maybe have this omnipresent anti-hero or whatever helping this girl out, but it was almost too extreme. Like we needed a little bit more of him to understand his growth throughout the movie, because he does grow, but like I didn't understand where he started, so it's hard to get like to understand how, you know,
like how is he mutated?
How is he mutated? That's a big question. How is he mutated?
Too. Nobody else is mutated.
Right. How does that work?
And if he's, and like, I know why he doesn't like anybody else is because he is mutated. And they show us with like, when they realize, oh, he's a mutant, they instantly lock him in the cage. That's fucked up. Maybe you're like, awesome. Can you go get us some sand so we can trade with the other places?
Yeah.
You could be our number one guy. You can have all the food you want.
Yeah, see, that was another question I had, was like, why are people prejudiced against the mutated humans that have gills? Because they could be super useful. Like, but like, yeah, like he's mutated. Why is he mutated? No one else is. He's been on this boat for who knows how long by himself. How did he end up by himself? Like, just a little bit more so I could understand his journey in this movie.
Can I just say his boat is super awesome?
His boat is really dope.
It's fun.
A good boat.
Visually, again, looks awesome. It's fun. It zips around super quickly. I love him running around and like hoisting sails and stuff. And there's so many like trap door things that are happening that, and like, you know, to ward off people and fight against other boats. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is a cool contraption. I do like that. And then just like another thing about the characters in general that was hard for me to kind of get behind. I get it's a post-apocalyptic world. People are fending for themselves. I get that. I dig it. But it's like the morality with all of our characters is a little too gray. So like I would like more of like the smokers really, really horrific shit, and like it seems like our good guys in this movie are not good enough. Their morals aren't all that different from our big baddies. And so it's hard for me to understand, like, why should I care about one group versus the other when you guys are all kind of the same? ish, and like I also don't understand, like, I guess like I would just like someone to have been a strong, or maybe even Costner, a stronger like moral compass for this world, because even though it is a different world, we can still have some morals here while fending for ourselves.
The wife and I talk about this all the time, because I'm super into like villains. I love villains in movies. I'm always rooting for them. Thanos, I'm rooting for that guy. Snap away half of the world. I just love I think villain stories are always interesting. But the other character that I love just as much as the villain is the person who is just pure of heart, does nothing but help others. And this movie should have at least one or two characters that are pure of heart. I wouldn't consider the child the pure of heart character just because, like, she don't know what's going on. Right. She just knows, like, this is dangerous. Let's not do it. Plus, I mean, I guess she's the most pure of heart because all she wants to do is like color on his boat. Like, I have crowns.
Yeah, but she's also not like fleshed out enough for her to be our moral compass.
There's not really a moral compass character, which is, we should have one. Again, that person can be defeated or killed in this world and be a sacrifice, whatever. But like, as long as you had someone making like, I'm making a nice decision for the good of everyone because I love everyone. Right. That's the character I like a lot.
Yeah, and you know what, for this type of world, we don't even need them to be like pure and perfect. Like, look, like the comparisons to Mad Max. Let's take Fury Road. Charlize Theron's character is our moral compass, and she's doing all sorts of hectic shit too, but she's saving these women. So it's
her priority is helping the defenseless.
Yeah. And so I think we needed a character like that where
Max in that movie is just like,
he's just like survive. There. Yeah, he's like hanging out.
I'm just gonna be with you guys.
Yeah. And so like Costner didn't necessarily need to be our moral compass, but we needed somebody especially to have the difference of like, oh, this is why the smokers are evil and dangerous because they'll go to this extreme. We don't go there, you know?
Just touching on that, have another traitor interaction where like we're suspicious of someone, but they're actually they turn out they're good. It's just we're suspicious because every traitor we've gotten has either tried to steal our lemons or try and have sex with everyone. So
straight up, like everyone we come across in this movie is horrific. like truly.
Hey, we have something to barter. Can we barter sex, please?
Yeah, like have just like a couple people be good people. Also, there is so much talk about murdering that little girl on both sides. Oof. Way too much talk of child murder. I don't appreciate it.
We gotta save ourselves. Murder the girl.
Yeah.
We gotta murder her and just take the map off her back.
What? You can't. Okay, have the smokers talk about murdering her. They're awful. But like at one point, Kevin Costner was like, yeah, we're not gonna make it. We don't have enough resources. We're gonna have to throw her overboard and let her die. What the fuck, bro?
What do you mean resources? What are the resources? You don't have resources for yourself. What does it matter if you just lose one extra day? One day to that glorious death where you don't have to deal with another day of Waterworld.
Right? Do you like this world that much? You want to survive, bro?
The second she's like the mom figure, Jeanine Triplehorn's character, I don't even remember her name. It's weird because we just watched it. Helen.
I would not have guessed that.
Jeanine that's Jeanine Triplehorn.
Right, yeah, that's what I thought.
She's like, we can't kill her. Like, okay, well, he jumps in the water and essentially plays human fishing, where using himself as the bait. And this is, I think, the only CGI they have in this movie. A giant monster fish comes up to try and eat him and he kills it. And I just thought, why don't we do that way more often?
Right. It seems like you can survive pretty well with gills, sir. Like, also, use them.
The amount of times they're in the water, why do those monster fish not attack more? Is there just one monster fish? Yeah. And he just knows where the monster fish lives? Oh, he's in this section of ocean. I want more monster fish. Like,
yeah.
Give me like 20,000 leagues under the sea, like a giant squid that attacks them.
Yeah.
Tentacles wrapping around. That's what we needed in this movie.
Well, because too, like Costner has mutated and evolved because of the way the world is now. So the sea life has evolved to some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like play into that. That'd be wild.
How do you think this movie would get made today? Would they try and keep as much because I think if you were remaking this, you would have to keep almost as much practical effects in this, but also give me a CGI monster. I don't think you could do a practical monster squid. It would have to be like CG.
I think so. I also don't think they would put people out in the ocean anymore because that's a liability as hell. But like, I think like,
and they were like, remember when Waterworld, everyone fucking hated it? Let's not do that again.
It'd be like Titanic where they're shooting in the ocean and it's really like a 3-foot deep, like large pool. Like
that's probably what would get made. But then that would, but like watching this movie, knowing it's all real and there's no way they could trick you with CGI, it makes it so much more impressive.
It really does. That's part of it. The magic of it is how it's all real.
One of my favorite shots in this movie, Costner is in like the crow's nest on top of his own little ship, and it pulls back into this wide shot where you can see just him because it's all one long drawback, and there's just nothing but fucking ocean. And I know filming that from doing my research, they had to just like let him coast, and the boat got away, and it took like 40 minutes for them to catch up to get him down off. Like, oh man, filming this would have been just a pain in the ass.
Like he literally almost got lost at sea because of this sweeping, beautiful wide shot. And like, see, so
worth
like,
it.
yeah,
worth. We lost Costner, but you know what? Worth it.
Gorgeous.
Looks
gorgeous.
great.
Keep it in. So yeah, I mean that's the thing that I appreciate is like how real this shit was that they did. I respect the hell out of that.
I like the mythos of like there's dry land out there.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's tattooed on the back of this little girl. Okay. How she got away or got separated from the dry land to begin with.
Right. So that's
none of that is made clear.
That's another thing where I think a little bit of exposition could have helped there. Because so there's this mythos of dry land. And I like that idea too. Somehow the little girl who, for my Veronica Mars fans out there, is played by little baby Mac from Veronica Mars. She has this like tramp stamp looking tattoo on her back, and it's supposed to be a map to dry land. But like, how did she get it? Was she born with it? And then how did she end up
did you just ask that? Was she born with a tattoo?
They never say.
That's her mutation. People are being born with tattoos that show the history of where they're from.
You know what? They never said it wasn't true, so it could very well be.
A very good point. They didn't tell us, so who knows?
That's why I need exposition a little bit, because I don't know.
Wouldn't that be wild?
Because like they treat it like she almost was there, because they're like, this is so mysterious.
Oh, because they don't know what a tattoo is?
I don't know. It's just like so much.
I feel like in this world, people would always be tattooing each other.
That's true. Why not? I don't know. But like, if it's a tattoo, who put it there? Why did they trust this little girl with the map to where dry land is?
I don't think it was a trust issue. I think they were just like, she's too stupid to know what's on her back.
But then also like,
plus why someone's just gonna kill her anyway.
But like, then why send her out into the world? How'd she end up and at the Atoll Platform Island? Like, so many questions about that. And I don't understand too, because when we finally do get to dry land, she has like a connection with it. It's like where her people came from. She
I think in the middle of the movie draws like horses and plants and trees because she knows what those were.
Yeah,
she gets memories. And then I think Costner sees like a Playboy in like the Crazy Guys or National Geographic, and he's like, "Oh, this is this," and I know what this is. She drew this. How do you know what this is? Yeah,
and it's confusing too because like, again, she's super young. So did she live on the island?
Less than 10, I think.
If she lived on the island, what happened that made her leave the island?
Yeah, why'd you leave? Why would you ever leave the dry land?
Right.
The only dry land in the world, and you left it? Stupid kid.
And how? You're a literal child. How would you have gotten anywhere on your own? Like, what? So there's a lot of questions. And then, like, what I think could have worked better.
Yeah.
This is a little woo-woo and spiritual, but it just makes more sense to me is that it's like her ancestors are from the dry land and she has some sort of clairvoyant spiritual connection. And that makes more sense than a fucking tramp stamp.
You've been watching too many ghost movies.
Just get a better way to get it.
The idea of a tattoo is fun. It is a stupid tramp. It's super weird on the child.
Yeah, and it's like her whole back, and it looks literally like something a white woman would get when she's drunk.
I think if we were remaking this movie, she'd be a little bit older in age.
Yeah.
And like she would know and just be quiet about it, almost like Gamora and the Soul Stone.
Sure,
she knows about it, and it's just like, I don't want anyone to know about this.
Yeah,
my lips are sealed.
Okay, that makes way more sense than just like this young girl who's like, I don't know, I got something on my back. I don't know, like that doesn't make any sense. And then also the reading of the map doesn't make any sense either. All these people seem to really struggle with how to read this map.
Well, I don't think anyone's read anything in like decades.
Okay, that's true, but they're symbols. We're not actually like doing reading.
Right. No, I think there is it's a form of like someone's writing.
Okay.
But again, I don't think anyone reads because I think they like paper.
Right.
Paper. He just is excited that it is paper, not that like there's words on this paper.
That's true. Okay.
Paper.
But then like pretty shortly before the movie ends, all of a sudden like this wacky old man's like, oh, we've been looking at it wrong. This way.
Yeah. I have a fun fact that I don't know if you know, because depending on which version of the movie you watched, may have not gotten this little extra tidbit of a scene or shot. Do you know where dry land is?
Hawaii?
No, very close. So close. Let me see if I can just help you to guess this answer. What is the highest point on Earth if everything is flooding? Will be the last thing to flood.
Kilimanjaro?
Hawaii? Mount Everest.
Oh, Everest.
You were so close again.
Kilimanjaro was a good guess.
Yeah.
It was a good guess.
For Indiana school teachings, yeah.
Not only Indiana school teaching, Indiana Catholic school teaching.
Okay.
I didn't learn anything for the first 9 years of my education.
Well, the Catholics didn't, run Everest. They were more of a Kilimanjaro type of thing. So, in some versions of this movie, there's a shot of a plaque that says like, this is Mount Everest. Not every version has it. Because like once it was in theaters and then for the version on TV, because that's what I remember on TV, we would see it. And then I don't recall it when I watched it on Blu-ray. Yeah. Oh, fun story. So I hadn't seen this movie in forever and I really wanted to watch it. The wife had never seen it, so I was like, good, I'm gonna make her watch it. And so I bought it, put one in the cart, didn't realize until it arrived at the house, I accidentally had 2 of them. And instead of like returning one, I just shipped one to Jessica.
Yep.
Yep. We had never talked about this movie before. I just sent it as a gift and enjoy this.
Yep. And then here we are. Here we are now.
We are talking about it.
Yeah, it sat on my shelf for probably about a good year.
But boy, woo.
What a time.
Are there any things you did not like about this movie?
Like I said, my biggest thing is just characters, differentiation of like morals and looks. Like that's something I have an issue with. Kevin Costner, I cannot like get behind him. I think he sucks as a character, and his growth is
The Mariner.
The Mariner.
Mariner.
The Mariner.
Kevin Costner, the character.
He does, like, I get he grows, but like not enough for me to be like, that's nice. He's good. But so
I like that he doesn't have a name. He's just the Mariner.
The Mariner, because he's
so
mysterious.
So mysterious.
So mysterious.
I like it.
That's my thing. If he's kind of like our leader in this movie, so to speak, we need to know a little bit more about him. He can't be that elusive.
A little bit more.
I think the smokers are really fun villains. They're really campy and kooky and weird.
I don't know why we haven't mentioned his name yet. Dennis Hopper.
Oh yeah.
One of the most fun villain actors we've ever had, especially in this. I feel like he's the only actor in this movie that is like, this movie is goofy. Let me play this up and make it really hammy and cheesy and just fun. He's the one that's bringing the most of just like wackiness, and oh, what a scene stealer.
I agree. I think he like is the only one there enjoying it. Like his
character gets fun. Like his eye blown out, so he has like this fake eye, and then he gets an eye patch. It's just like, what a wild guy. What a wild time.
Truly wild. And I think the villains are really fun, and I like the kookiness of them. I think it's really enjoyable. So no complaints towards the smokers, really. I think they're fun.
Can I give you another fun fact?
Yes.
Did you notice any other celebrities?
So I did not, but I know who you're talking about because I found out afterwards.
So there's a plane that's shooting a harpoon at our Mariner boat. The pilot is none other than Jack Black. He's so young, and it's a blink and you miss. Like, well, he says like a line or two, but like he's covered in like fucking smoker gear that you don't really notice it. He's just almost like a side character, like a side minor character.
Just like one more thing on the smokers is that while I do find them to be fun and kooky, I understand that like their motivation is to get the girl with the tramp stamp so that they could find the map to dryland. But before we get there, like I don't get what their deal is. Like they're just causing havoc and just being assholes.
All they want to do is just cause havoc. They have enough gas on the Valdez to power all their jet skis.
Yeah, like
they are just
fucking shit up. Like they don't care. Like I think going back to Walking Dead idea is to have it sort of be like Negan, where it's like, I want to control you all and
do
like
things for me, like
to do things for me. Yeah.
You're my fishing guys.
Yes.
You're my gathering old ships guys.
Right. Like, because the land is kind of lawless. So that would have been more interesting. And then it's like, okay, we take the girl and get our core gets to dry land while everyone else works for us. Because before the finding out the girl might have a map to dry land, they're just like being assholes.
Again, I think this with the world building, it'd be more fun with a few more dry land spots and a lot more constructed like island spots.
Yeah. And maybe
all,
some
like, one is made of like fucking wood and one is like nice plastic. One is all, they all look a little different too. Almost like different Star Wars planets. You're like, ooh, that's the cold one.
Yeah, that could have been really interesting to see. I would have liked it. But like, I'm not mad that wasn't in there because they did do a lot already. Just would have been cooler to like expand on it a little bit more.
Okay, Jessica. Should our listeners and everyone else give this movie a second chance? Were people in the 90s too harsh on this movie?
So I don't have a straightforward answer. I kind of have like a Roger Ebert take on this, if you will.
That you like it and never recommend it to people?
No, not that.
That you hate it and then recommend it to everyone?
No. My recommendation's a little murky. I think it's up for debate on how harsh people were to this movie when it first came out. I don't think it needed to get all the hate and just infamy that it got, because there are things that are impressive in this movie that are really commendable and impressive. So I don't think it is as bad as people think. I think if you are into movies, if you love movies, if you're a big fan of cinema, film history, you absolutely should watch this movie, because it has its mark in history for a reason, and judge for yourself if you think it was as bad as people say. And if you're not that into movies, but you know of Waterworld, why not? Why not watch it, give it a second chance? Again, the visuals alone are really cool. Just go in like not expecting much character story-wise, and you'll have a fun time. So I guess I say, yeah, it does deserve a second chance.
I definitely think this movie deserves a second chance. I've never understood why people hate this movie so much. It's a fun like adventure movie with like wild action. We got boring characters, but we still got an interesting story of events that continuously move and happen, and it's a wild time. I'm never bored at any point in this movie, so that's a good time. It is weird that I don't know who they were aiming the audience for.
Yeah.
I don't think it's kids, because there's a lot of bartering for sex in this movie.
And we talk about murdering children.
There's so much of the murders that happen. So, and there's also, on the flip side of that, they have action figures for this movie. There are toys like that weren't like nice collectibles that we have today that adults would love to have, but like we're the 3-inch, like 4-inch figures. Yeah, Jessica, those would be great birthday presents for Joe.
Okay, I'll take note. I'll take
Christmas. If you're just like, hey, this is another random day, I'm just gonna give him a present.
Arbor Day gifts.
I'd accept. Yeah. Arbor Day for Waterworld. Yeah. Good connections. And it, because of its campy goofiness, it's not really aimed at adults either. So like, it's all over the place, I think, for a general audience of everyone. So I think everyone can have a good time watching it.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point that they kind of are trying to make it like a family movie almost, that anyone could watch it. Yeah. But yet they do really inappropriate things.
Yeah, they have a lot of dark shit that goes in this movie. There's a lot of
dark shit in this movie. Oh. So I would not recommend kids watching it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, like I think it's not as bad as people say. I think there's definitely far worse movies with far worse characters and plots. Am I gonna watch it again? Probably not. But did I regret watching it? No.
I'll probably watch it, but I'm gonna wait. It's not like a rush to watch it. It's like every like 10 years, like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
This was a fun time.
It's just silly. It's just a silly anomaly.
I am proud to recommend it to anyone.
Good for you. Live your truth.
Hey guys, you should watch this. It's good. It's fun. It's a fun time. And I know we spoiled the hell out of it for you, but I don't think we actually talked about, I guess we talked about the end. There's an island.
A little bit.
But you know what? There's a lot of other shit that's in this movie we didn't even touch on, and it's just a wild time. Plus, visually, I can't describe the action sequences as well as you could just watch them. So do yourself a favor, everyone. If you haven't seen it, just enjoy yourself. Have a good time.
Why not?
It's, I think, one of the most fun popcorn movies of the 90s. Popcorn, we just sit back, just enjoying ourselves.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening to another episode. Let us know what you think. Have you seen Waterworld? Did you hate it? Did you love it? What do you think? Do you like Kevin Costner in general, or does he give you a weird vibe? Let us know.
What's your favorite Kevin Costner movie?
What is your favorite?
Why is it Rumor Has It, Megan?
Big thank you as always to Beaty McBeatface for our theme song that we love so much. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram. We're on Letterboxd now. Follow us. Keep up with the conversation. All the links will be in our show notes. We are literally on any platform you listen to podcasts, and we are also on YouTube if you want a visual experience. And yeah, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you listening. If you like what you're hearing, please give us a like, a review, a comment. It all really helps us.
Let us know what movies you'd like us to watch. Give us a second chance. Is there something that everyone kind of trashed on and you thought, you know what? This is good. Fuck everyone. We'll watch that movie.
We will watch that movie. We will literally watch almost anything. We'll be back next week with another second chance movie.
Woo! Waterworld.
Second chance